Rodriguez with RCR Custom Homes. Roland, you're set to begin. Thank you so much for your time.
Sure. Well, first of all, Raquel, thank you for inviting me to speak with you guys this morning. I think, just my story and my background, and I remember not too long ago not knowing, which route my career was going to go. So definitely would love to share my experiences and the opportunities that I've had and to share with people that are possibly thinking about getting into this career. So my name is Roland Rodriguez. I am the owner of RCR Homes. We're located here in Victoria, Texas. I think, one of the reasons why I got into this business was I come from a construction background family. My family's from Mexico, so like most migrant workers that come to the U.S., they're usually in some kind of service industry or construction. So, me not knowing what I really was going to do with as a career, I naturally kind of gravitated towards construction type work. So, my dad has his company. He worked for the city of Victoria. So, growing up, school was a little tough for me. I really wasn't sure which route I wanted to go. I always kind of struggled with school. I think a lot of those experiences with school for me was, English was a second language, so I always felt maybe a little uncomfortable or maybe intimidated when I was going to school. So I had to work really hard just to be able to pass and so on. But I think the reason I chose this field, after high school, I actually entered one of the technical programs at BC. So I was able to learn a trade or learn electrical and instrumentation. So I naturally, after I graduated from college, I kind of gravitated towards the plant. And at the time, nobody was really hiring. So I took a job at Alcoa for a few years, and then that led to another job, which was at the city of Victoria. I worked at the water treatment facility there. So I was getting experience in the electrical field. At this time, my dad had started and was working his company, which is J&R Contracting Services. And they kind of concentrated in site development, which is heavier commercial work. Let's say something like if a Buffalo Wild Wings is going to be built, they're the company that would come in and do all the site work, get all the preparation, the water, the sewer, the storm drains, and concrete work. So being a young dad at that time, I kind of needed to work when I could. So, I found myself helping my dad a little bit on weekends, or I was off on Fridays. So I would go on to work with him and his company. So I started to learn other trades. So now I was learning, site work, how to read plans on the commercial construction site, what needed to be done to bring in dirt, and, how to read those plans, moving material, what kind of material to use. And so that led into concrete work. And again, it was the same thing. It was learning. And at the same time, I was working at the city of Victoria, still in trades, electrical field. After the city of Victoria, I ended up applying for a job at American Electric Power, which is the utility provider that owns all the electrical lines, transmission lines, the distribution, substation, the plants, electrical plants, and the distribution, which would be the lines that serve your house power. So I worked there, and during that time that I worked there, I was still involved with my dad. And at that time, we formed a company which was called Rodriguez Investment Group. Rodriguez Investment Group was something that we did. It's actually my siblings and my dad. And that was back in like 2000, maybe 2007. So we formed Rodriguez Investment Group with the idea that we would sell material, which is dirt. So we kind of started off selling dirt as far as when I got into business. So my dad had a company. We were able to sell them the dirt, and they would be able to move it to different job sites. So after Rodriguez Investment Group started, the idea of developing a property, which we had purchased, came into the idea through a sibling was maybe we can develop this property into a neighborhood. So one step led to another. And the next thing we're doing is we're developing a 1 acre tract property just on the outside of Victoria. So with the electrical background that I had, my brother was an engineer. I had another brother, Dago, which was heavily involved in commercial construction and site. And then I also had a brother that is a salesman, professional salesman. So I think as a group, we were able to really pull together to create, something special with Rodriguez Investment Group. So we developed a neighborhood called Bayou Vista. So during that time, the idea of building houses came into play. So with construction background, I had been around framing, already knew electrical and plumbing. So we decided as Rodriguez Investment Group and with a partnership with J&R, my dad's company, that we would start building homes. So I built my home first, and we kind of oversaw other builds, my brothers. So we started building our homes. Then after that, we started having people or friends would ask me, "Hey, can you build me a house?" So, one step led to another. And at this time, we're probably talking about maybe 2010. So I started building homes. So the idea of building homes with the partnership wasn't something that everybody wanted to take on. We all kind of had full-time jobs. Everyone was doing well in where we were at. So I was kind of building homes, and then when I say building homes, maybe 2 or 3 per year, and I was still able to have a full-time job. So throughout those few years, I was building more and more homes, and I felt that if I ever had gotten an opportunity to maybe do this full-time, I would consider that. So I guess in 2013, it was really coming in, people were calling. I had more opportunities to build. So after talking with my wife in 2014, I formed RCR Homes. So RCR Homes, so we started building homes in 2014 under my company. And 6 years later, we're here today. We've built, I can't really count how many homes. I don't remember. I would probably say maybe close to 80 to 100 homes. And my company is growing. So we've had great opportunity to build. We're still having a lot of opportunity. And we've really established ourselves as a premier builder here in Victoria. So, with the experience, and now that the team that I have 3 field superintendents, and then I have the office, so which I have my wife and 2 other ladies that help out here in the office. So, a lot of the things that I've learned was kind of just the experience of taking on or not being scared to take on a new endeavor or a challenge. And now, since 2014, what I've done is I'm starting to take classes and courses through the National Builders Association. So the National Builders Association is an organization that we're involved with. I'm also involved with the Texas Builders Association, and we're also involved in the local chapter, which is the Crossroads Builders Association. So during that time of this year, I'm a vice president of the Crossroads Builders Association. Next year, I'll be the president of the organization. So I try to continue to learn and do different things to help me become better at my craft and what I do. I think people come and talk to me. They're entrusting RCR to build them a home, and it's their largest investment. So the responsibility that we have to deliver is huge, and we do. So, after starting off, I decided to take another step and to grow the company. So right now, I think with RCR Homes, we do have the potential to possibly grow a little bit more, and we're kind of crafting all that. We're kind of putting everything together, kind of getting the pieces of the puzzle to make sure that we continue to move forward as a company. So, as far as, I've kind of worked my way, if you talk about my experience for the work, I've had a shovel in my hand before when I was in my, I'm 42. So when I started off in this field, I wasn't scared of work. I think my dad would always say that there's 3 things someone needs to be successful, and I'm a true believer of it. And it's your work, which could be anything. If you're, if you own a business or you're a nail technician, be the best nail technician you can be. So that when it says your work, just try to do the best you can at what you do, and you'll definitely outshine anybody else that may not be willing to take that same action. So your work, your word, right? Your word means a lot. So when you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you can't do it, at least explain to somebody why you've had. Your word means a lot. And your will, your will to succeed and your will to move forward in whatever it is you want to do. So I found myself from a young kid hearing those 3 things, and I've done that. I wasn't scared of work. Like I said, I've had a shovel in my hand, when I first started off, and it was something that had to be done, and the job required to do it. So we did it. Was it fun? No. Did I want to do it? Absolutely not. But it was something, again, that needed to be done. So when you work yourself, when you're willing to work up from the bottom to put yourself in a better position, I always looked at, like, what can I do to put myself in a better position? Well, what can I do when I started off at Alcoa to put myself? What can I do at the city? What can I do financially when I would go work with my dad on the weekends? Was what can I do to make myself better? And obviously money was a big factor, right? I needed to make an income to provide for my family. So, now with running a company, we're building anywhere, from around 15 homes on average. And that's a lot. That's a lot. So my day-to-day activity typically starts anywhere. Sometimes I wake up at 6, sometimes, even earlier than that. So typically start off just kind of going into the emails. I try to prioritize what's the most important thing that I need to do that day and try to get that done. There's this saying that, people that may be successful or people that have a lot of responsibility, that's never going to change. That's never going to change, to be able to say that I'm not busy, right? We're always, and I used to say that, but that doesn't change. You just have to move on, pick the task that's most important, and you move on to the next task. So my day-to-day activity really depends. Sometimes I'm at a job site. I meet with customers. I sell. So my role in this company is really very broad. Meetings, paperwork. So again, it's very broad. what I do, one of the things that I like most about my job is that even though sometimes it can be a lot, it doesn't feel like work to me. And I truly enjoy it. It's very rewarding to see something when you show up, there's nothing there, and then when you leave, you have this home or this, someone's home that you help create. So it's a very rewarding job. So it doesn't feel like work. I think that's one of the most, important things for me is that, I truly love what I do, even though sometimes it's not fun. As far as, some of the knowledge that someone may need if they're thinking about being a builder is, just math. You definitely have to, use your math skills. You definitely writing proposals, bids, documents for the bank. And like I told you guys earlier, like I really struggled with school. So I'm a true believer of, if I can do this with hard work and willing to succeed, I think anybody can. I wasn't, like I said, I had a hard time, but yeah, you definitely need your math, definitely know how to write, and actually communication, your presentation skills. When somebody comes into my office, I have to be ready to talk about difficult things. I mean, you're talking about somebody wanting to spend $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 to build a home. So you definitely have to be prepared and ready to have a conversation and let the people know, what you're doing and the fees, right, to build the home. So your presentation skills. And I was so scared to talk in front of people at one time. I'd be terrified of doing it. And now, as you can see, you can't get me to stop talking. So I've overcome that. As far as I'm looking at some bullet points as I'm speaking, so I want to make sure that I kind of touch on each topic. I know that safety and things like that are pretty important at the job sites, not just what I do, but how the COVID-19, this past month, it was a little scary, not knowing how that was going to affect our business, but we are an essential business to the community, to the state, so we were able to continue to work. And as far as affecting my business, I won't tell until 6 months down the road. We had enough work going on that it really hadn't affected us. But if the economy does not bounce back, it can definitely impact my business and our day-to-day operation. So only time's going to tell how that affected us. But we do follow the safety procedures that are in place. Respect the social distancing, having the mask on when you're working in closer proximity. So as far as I don't have any props today, but I don't know if there's anything else, Raquel, that you would possibly like me to touch on. I know there's something on here that says, some of you may want to know, what does a home builder make? I typically don't disclose that, but I make a good living. Every year is different, so the more you build, the more money you make. I will disclose that 2017 there was a hurricane that came through. So Hurricane Harvey, it impacted me personally. It impacted the community, and at the time I really wasn't focusing on the business or the amount of money that we were going to make, but I mean, I made quite a bit of money that year. So, but it really just goes back to showing, I think once someone decides what they want to do, there's no set salary. You build more homes, you make more money. So I think the possibilities are endless. It's really tough because in order to grow, I need to bring more people on and do things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, so. Do you guys have any questions for me? I'm sure some of you may have some questions. Okay, I see. Okay, I'm not looking at the monitor. Okay, so there's a question that came in. It says, can you elaborate on how someone like yourself needs to have a personal skills to not only deal with customers, but to deal with contractors as well? So one of the biggest things that I say every day is some of the challenges that I have is contractors. Contractors being that, I'm constantly negotiating prices and terms. So when I'm building a home, I bid out the house, and then I have to deal with I come with the contractors, and we come into a contract for what's going to be doing. So let's say I'm building Raquel a house, and I have a contract for each contractor. So some of the things that go on in the day-to-day with contractors is overseeing their work, making sure that communication, scheduling, I need you over here, I need you over there tomorrow. So scheduling the personal skills that you have to deal, there's a lot of interaction. And you have to be very confident. You have to sometimes be very persistent on what your intents are and what your expectations are. I think sometimes that in itself can be challenging to be able to have some difficult conversations, but at the same time, you definitely want to respect that individual and be as professional as possible. Okay, so I'm not sure if I understand the next question. The need to understand different social styles and backgrounds. So I think with the different social styles and backgrounds, one of the things that if it comes to contractor, yeah, we deal with different kind of backgrounds, different individuals that may have not have the same background or the same social style, and it's sometimes that is tough, right? I think a lot of times with contractors, painters, or I speak fluent Spanish. That has definitely helped me. If you're talking about a social style or background, a lot of the workers today, speak Spanish, right? So I have to be able to communicate with that and make sure that they understand everything that we're needing done. I have another question that says, how do you evaluate success as a builder? One of the things that I try to be as humble as possible. I treat everyone the same, no matter who you are. I truly believe that every builder is different. Here in Victoria, everybody has a different style. Everybody has a different background. I think the difference of what you see with me is that I'm heavily involved. And when I say heavily involved, I'm in the day-to-day. A customer can contact me at any time. There's builders that build homes that Raquel may come in and build an office, and Raquel may come in and want to build a home, and she may never talk to that builder. So with me, you have a lot of that communication. So, some of the awards that we won, speak about some of the awards that we won. So some of the things that we've done is we've won Parade of Homes. Parade of Homes is a competition that home builders enter. It kind of showcases your work. It allows the community, they purchase tickets, they come in to see what the new homes are, the new styles. A lot of people may be shopping a builder, so then they're able to talk to a builder and kind of fill out, because again, you're asking someone and you're giving them your largest investment. So it's you definitely want to make sure that the customer feels comfortable. So we've won several awards with the Parade of Homes. We've won back to back the People's Choice Award. What's really cool about that award is that the people vote for that. So those are the ones that mean that I guess a lot of the builders want is the People's Choice, because it's not voted by the judges. It's actually voted by the people that come in. So that's really, that one right there is probably one of the coolest ones that I've won. But we've also won this year, 2020. We were voted through the Victoria Advocate as Best of the Best. So 2020 award, Best of the Best Home Builder in the Crossroads area, RCR Homes. So that's pretty, definitely wasn't expecting that. But I think one of the reasons why the company shows is, so well is social media. We have a lot of people that follow us on social media. So there's people that may not build a home, or people that may not have that opportunity to build a home, but now through social media, they can see what we do. So I think that, the past few years has really changed for me through social media. So I think a big thing for us to win that award was that. So one of the questions is, does your company, and I'm sure y'all are reading it, but it says, does the company participate in building homes for lower income families, like government built homes? So one of the things that we do, when I left AEP in 2014, when I started my company, I prayed a lot. I prayed that that if this was the right choice for me, should I leave? I was making six figures. I had a very good job at AEP. So the decision was made that I would. I was going to leave, and that was through prayer. And one of the things that I did was, before I sent my letter of resignation, I actually said one more prayer, and I asked God to just provide. I didn't ask him for anything else. I said, just provide for me and my family. That's all I want. And if you can do that for me, I'll find ways to give back. So yes, we give back, any chance we get, not just through the residential or homes. We give back to kids. I give back to kids in need. I think that's, I was a low income kid, and I remember, growing up, we didn't have much. So, I always give back to the kids. I think that's a great way to give back. And then we've done like free roofs for someone in need. We've done free paint jobs for someone in need. And some of the things that we've actually gotten involved with, we're going to be doing a second home this year, is Promise Point. So Promise Point is a nonprofit organization that what it is they're tiny homes. So there's a community just on the outside of Victoria, a nonprofit organization that we build tiny homes. So we're going to be building our second home, and these are for people that are homeless. When I say homeless, they have to meet certain requirements. They have to work. So it's not just a handout. They do pay a small rent. So it's a way to get people off of the street, encourage them to work, get back on their feet. And as long as they're working, and as long as they're paying, their rent, their monthly rent, they have a home to stay there. So yeah, so we do participate and give back to the community. So what area does the company cover? We're the Crossroads. We're the Crossroads builder. We pretty much cover Goliad, Port Lavaca. We will go maybe towards Beeville some, just depends. Port Lavaca, Cuero, Edna, Louise, about a 45-minute radius. So if you can, Hallettsville would probably be somewhere we would go. So it just really depends. Refugio, but we really don't like to travel outside of that. Customer service is pretty important. So we try to stay within a certain area to be able to provide good customer service. So it says, what words of encouragement do you have for a migrant student? I am sure it would apply to a lot of students. So, you know, guys, like I said, I come, you know, my parents came from Mexico. So I was actually born in Mexico, but I think like a month later, they were here. So I was, you know, they were here. So I was able to come. My parents came legally. They were able to come. This was back in the 70s. So they were able to come here. I know there's a statistic. There's a statistic out there, and this is true, that 30% of people that migrate to the U.S. are more likely to become millionaires than people that are here in the U.S. So I do feel that, especially if you come from a first generation or you come from that culture of, like my parents used to tell us, like, you're in the U.S., you know, you're in the U.S., you can do whatever you want. And I think that's lost over generations. I don't think my daughter feels that way, but we did. So hearing that and growing up that we were in the U.S., that we had every opportunity, and that it was just up to us to do that. I mean, I encouraged my daughter that way, and maybe it was just the way that we grew up, seeing, you know, my parents struggle. I think that a lot of the migrant people that come to the U.S. are probably some of the hardest working people. You know, I see that every day. And I think because of that hard work and determination to be successful, I truly believe that, you know, if you work hard, and it's not easy. I had shovels. I've done stuff that I've never wanted to do. And it's not easy. But I think as long as you have that mindset to succeed and believe in something bigger than yourself and want that, I really don't think that there's anyone that can stop you. You know, one of the things that my mom would always say, the only no that's going to stop you is yours, right? So if you think about that, what does that mean? Well, you think I've had several people tell me that I couldn't do what I was doing. Was it discouraging? Absolutely. Did I stop? Maybe I stopped, but then I was like, I think I'm gonna try to find a way to get it done. So I think as long as you're not scared to back down from a challenge and you're willing to continue to move forward, I think anybody that's you know, can have that same opportunity to be successful. I think with migrant students, me being from Mexico, one of the biggest things and advantages that I had was speaking Spanish. You know, speaking Spanish has been a great tool to have. It's my first language. But yeah, I think if you're a migrant student or worker, I already said that school was tough. You know, college was extremely hard for me. So, you know, if I can do it, I'm sure any of you guys out there listening to me can definitely do it. So just you know, just work hard. Work hard. Your work, your will, and just get after it. So the work says, do I keep an album? So if you guys, I post a lot. We're heavy on social media. So my company is RCR Homes, LLC. So we keep a lot of our work. If you guys are curious to see what I do, you can go through our Facebook, RCR Homes. You can see pictures of what we do, the homes we built, and the opportunities that we have. So if you guys are curious or you're thinking about wanting to be in this business, you could definitely do it. There's, you know, I always tell people that the trades business, my whole life, you would hear, and we've all heard this, is go to school so you don't have to work hard, right? So you go to school so you don't have to work hard, right? So what does that mean? Well, I can go to school to be a doctor. I can go to school to be, an HR. I can go to school to be, an accountant, So what I don't like is go to school so you don't work. I think if you're going to be an accountant, you have to work hard to be the best that you can be. I think because there is such a demand for trades, I think that that's a great way to make a living. I see the checks that I write the guys and when they're doing a house. So if plumbing, electrical, HVAC, people that do tile work, mason work, roofing work, I also have a roofing company, by the way. But there's all kinds of ways that you can learn a trade to make money. So it's definitely something that I encourage anybody to look into if it's not maybe not just home building, maybe another trade. And that's what I went for after I finished high school and I went into college in electrical. Does your company have hiring restrictions? Well, we do, and no. I think for me, when I'm hiring someone, it's more of a feel. I think that there has to be a connection with someone that I feel that they're going to be on the same page. They feel the same way. They're passionate to deliver, the best product they can. So I think I do have some restrictions as far as background checks and stuff like that. But as far as anybody, we just hired a guy that really didn't have any experience, but he was excited about coming on board, and we were excited to have him. So we do and we don't. So, so is there any other questions? I think that was the last one.
I don't see anything at this time. I do want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to speak with us. If anybody does have follow-up questions, please feel free to email me and I could relay the message to Roland and connect you to that way. Once again, thank you, Roland, for participating in today's call.
Sure. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, Raquel. Thank you. And I hope you guys, what I shared a little bit today can impact you in a small way, but just believe that anything is possible and just shoot for the sky. We'll talk to y'all later. Thank y'all again. Bye-bye.